Hello everybody, this is Kay and welcome to my channel Junking with Gigi. In a couple of previous videos I made this cover, the first one being one of my videos in the series of what to do with all this brown paper, where I just made the base out of an Amazon package. And then I did another video where I decorated the cover and created a closure. In this video, my hope is to choose the papers that I want to use as signatures and do whatever pre-binding decor that I want to do on the individual pages before I bind them into this journal. This is going to be the spine right here. And it's about a 1¼ inch spine. Okay, so I decided I'm going to do 2 signatures in this journal, and these are going to be the first pages of each of those signatures. I found this book at a used bookstore called, I'll show it to you real quick, called For the Birds, Creating a Sanctuary, and it was just a couple of dollars. And I've had it for quite a while because I've been wanting to work on a Feathered Friends journal, but it's got all kinds of wonderful little images of birds and bird houses and nice little sentiments that I'm going to be using some of throughout this journal. That's what I chose to use, a couple of pages out of there for my first pages in each signature. And this one says, "Birds of a feather will gather together," Robert Burton. And on this one, I made a little fold over just for a little tuck spot there. And I took this image and I think this is German text here. This was another book that I had gotten that I've had for quite some time, that I actually bought for the just for the nice looking German text, but it also has a lot of bird images in it as well. And this one is a nursery rhyme. "Come hither, sweet robin, and be not afraid. I would not hurt even a feather. Come hither, sweet robin, and pick up some bread to feed you this very cold weather." I just thought that was adorable. And I went ahead and put some lined paper on this side of it. And here are some other pages that I've chosen for the journal signatures. Some of them I've already folded. I've got some map paper here, some lined papers, tea dyed of various types. This is coffee dyed and tea dyed plain papers. And then these I decided to go ahead and use. I've had them for a while. I just took some plain paper and used some pearlescent type watercolors on these, and they turned out very pretty. So I'm going to fold these up real quick and incorporate them into my signatures as well. I grabbed a couple more pieces of papers. These are actually some lightweight cardstock that I found in my stash to put in these signatures. This is a really, really pretty dark teal color, and then just an ivory color here. Fold those up. I've got these all kind of arranged in the signatures how I want them. But obviously, I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming. A couple of these lined papers are a little too big for the signature. So I'm just going to take my pencil and put a little mark here on that one and hereabouts. I'm going to go ahead and pull that page out of the signature for a minute and get that trimmed down. Okay, so those two are ready to go as far as the papers being folded and placed and trimmed down as need be. I think I want to take some of this flat lace that I have and stitch it to the front page, or not the front page, the front of this second page of each signature. I've got that dark teal piece of cardstock as the second page in each signature, and I just think that would look so pretty as a contrast on that dark teal, as well as when the signature is closed, it'll kind of peek out like that. What I do have here now is a line of stitching on this side, which I don't really care for that. So I think what I'm going to do here is take a piece of my washi tape, and I have this really pretty kind of dark vintagey looking washi tape that I got. I think I got this from Your Creative Studio, in a Your Creative Studio box, if I can get it. It's pretty thin. Seems pretty sticky, but I think I'm still going to run a little line of some art glitter glue along in here just for extra adhesion. That is done on both signatures, and it looks really nice, really sweet, kind of peeking out there, and then the contrast, and then also on this side with the washi tape. I love the way that looks. One of the things I really enjoy doing on journal pages is some stenciling, and so I've pulled out here some stencils. I just got this piece of black paper, so it might be easier to see my stencils. I went through my stencils and I pulled out some of the ones that, it's going to glare a little bit, I guess, that are sticking with the bird theme. I've got that one with the birds on the branches. This is a really pretty one of a bird inside a bird cage, as well as a couple of other stencils there. And okay, I've got this whole set of other bird stencils. I've pulled out a couple of my ink pads here. This is just my jet black archival ink, and this is my Delicata Golden Glitz. I don't really have a teal colored ink pad, so I'm going to just stick with these two colors. I've got a couple of blending brushes, and I'm going to start with one of these tea-dyed papers that I pulled out of one of my signatures. And this stencil right here, which is, it's hard to see, I know, is the two birds facing different directions. And so what I think I'm going to do is put one at the top of this page looking to the middle and the other one on the other side. So they'll be on opposite ends of the signature. But I thought that would be real pretty. And I'm going to do this one in the black ink. Isn't that pretty? I just love the way that looks. Now I'm going to go to the other side here and do the one that is facing the other direction. Maybe I'll put it towards the bottom of this page. Ooh, that one's going to be a little long. Well, his tail is going to have to hang off the edge of the page, I guess. This is that plain piece of ivory cardstock that I have in the middle of the first signature. And I'm going to take this stencil with the bird cages on it and kind of tilt it a little. So some of it is running off the edges a bit. And I'm going to use the gold ink pad on this one, the Golden Glitz. I don't know if you can see that very well on camera. It's pretty faint looking on the camera, but it really does look pretty as I'm looking at it. I'm going to take that same stencil and kind of flip it over and do a little bit more on the bottom of this same page, just to kind of fill up the whole page. I'm sure you could tell that my stencil was wanting to kind of move around on me a lot while I was doing that, but it still turned out pretty. I'll try to pull it in a little closer so you can see. It's very subtle, but also very, very pretty looking. Now I'm going to choose a couple of pages out of this second signature and decide what I want to stencil on them. On the outside of this coffee dyed piece of paper, I'm going to stencil this on one side, kind of kitty corner like that, and then on the back side I'm going to use this stencil, which is two birds sitting on a branch. And I'm going to do this again in the black ink. On the inside of this piece of ivory cardstock for the second signature, in the middle of the second signature, I'm going to take this stencil, and I think I'm going to do this bird up here in this corner, and then kind of encircle it with this leafy vine on this side, and then on this side, I'm thinking I might just do this bird cage. Bird in the cage one. I have a couple of fancy corner punches, so I'm going to go through these and just fancy up the corners of some of the more plainer pages in these signatures. Okay, so I fancied up some of the corners with my fancy punches. And I also wanted to show you, point out that I went ahead and I replaced that one map index page I had in this signature. I just wasn't liking it. It was too plain, and I wasn't sure how to alter it or cover it. So I just changed it out. And now there's a pretty map page in here of the state of Hawaii, some of its different islands and surrounding areas. So what I'm going to do now is just take my corner rounder and I'm going to round the corners of all the other pages that are kind of square and sticking out here, because I'm not liking that either. Now is I'm going to put a little bit more lace on the edges of a few more of these signature pages. I'm going to do that off camera though, because I don't want this video to get too long, and I will be back to show you what I've done. I've gone through and decorated the edges of some of my pages a little bit more. Oops, I forgot I want to trim that ribbon down a little bit more than that. Actually, I want to go that way. If you cut ribbon on an angle, it keeps it from unraveling. That's why I did that. So I just put a little bit of that like sheer ribbon on top of some lace on that page. Put some little skinny ribbon there. I didn't want to go all the way to the edge here and cover up my nice punched corners. Put a little piece of lace on the edge of that map page. Oh, on the middle signatures, I decided to do like a lace pocket because I had this really wide lace and that I've been wanting to use up. So I went all the way across with it, and I just glued it here, here, and here. Whenever I sew in these signatures, that'll secure this middle part, and we'll have two pockets here. I kind of covered up my stenciling that I had done earlier. This was an afterthought. If I had thought about it before, I would have put this stencil up here or maybe on the other side, but it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. Okay. On this page, I made kind of a ruffle with some of that same lace that I used earlier. And I wanted to show you, grab this real quick, that this is just some sheer ribbon I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And they have it in different colors there, and it's just so pretty. This was some brownish lace that I had with kind of gold in it. Let me hold that up so you can see that a little better. Take that page out. It was so pretty, but it was very wide. Here's what it looks like. So what I decided to do with this is just wrap it around the edge of the page like that. And I love the way that looks. That is so pretty, so elegant looking. And then the second signature, I did some more decorating on too. This was a leftover little piece of this stuff that I just didn't want to throw away, so I trimmed off that one little straight edge, and I just kind of made a big tab out of it, I guess. And I'm thinking I might just hang a charm or something. That's why I kind of brought it out from the edge of the page like this, so I could maybe attach something there. I think is all that I want to do to these pages before I bind them into the cover. So I'm going to pause my camera for a minute. Oh, I wanted to show you too. I had made one more change on the cover from that first video that I did. When I put my closure in, I fed it through a little slot in the cover here because I didn't want to bring it over and cover up my peacock. And then I was thinking, well, I'm gonna have to put a pocket or something to cover that up. And then I thought, well, why don't I just leave it like this as kind of a belly band? I mean, that looks kind of nice because I just brought it through there and glued it on the edge here. I did go ahead and put a button here, which I sewed all the way through the cover just to add a little bit more strength to that. And now I can slot something in there and use that as a belly band. So that kind of worked out. But anyway, this is my spine, which I'm going to pause my camera now and do a little bit of preparation for sewing these signatures into this cover. Okay, so for this journal, what I'm wanting to do is a hidden spine. And what that is I actually brought a couple of my other journals in here to show you the difference between a hidden and an exposed spine. So this is another wraparound journal that I recently finished. And instead of sewing the signatures straight through the spine to the outside, I sewed them into a separate piece of heavy cardboard and then glued that onto the spine on the inside so that it wouldn't show on this side. Whereas an exposed spine you sew all the way through the spine to the out. What I've got here is a 1 1/4 inch piece, just the height of the spine, the width and the height of the spine, that I'm going to sew these two signatures into, and then that will get glued to the inside spine here so it doesn't show on the outside. I know I'm probably repeating myself over and over again, but sometimes it helps me understand what I'm doing when I say it all out loud. This probably sounds pretty silly. So anyway, I've got that piece, which I covered with the same fabric as the inside of the cover so that it would blend in nicely. And then I also made a template out of just a piece of paper, white paper, to use to make my holes for my two signatures. And you can see where I've put the dots. This will be signature 1 and this will be signature 2. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is put my holes in my spine strip for the signatures. Okay, I put a few clips on here just to make sure it doesn't slip around while I'm putting my holes in my spine strip, and I have a little piece of foam I'm going to just put under there. I'm going to take my pokey tool and just poke straight down through that spine strip at all 6 dots that I've put on my template here. I'm going to use this brown waxed cord to sew my signatures in, so I'm going to go ahead and get that ready by going 1, 2, 3 lengths of the signature, and going ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put it on my needle. Ow, I poked myself. So it's ready. I've got a pretty big eye needle here that this will go through. And I'm going to line up my pages inside just to make sure everything is where I want them to be. Because some of the pages, they're not all the same height. So you have to kind of go through and position them where you want them before you start poking your holes and sewing it in. I'm going to put my template in there, making sure I'm lining the top with the top of the signature. And I'm going to poke my holes. Okay, I usually leave my pokey tool in the top hole while I'm getting started with my sewing, just to kind of help hold everything in place. So I'm going to start in the middle, on the inside, and go through that first hole. I'm going to leave a tail inside of a few inches, and then I'm going to go back through this bottom hole, back to the middle. Okay, I had to pause it there for a second because I got a little messed up, and my pages got a little wonky, and I had to line everything back up again and start over. But so I went in first from the inside to the outside. I went up to that top hole and came back to the inside. And now I've got my pokey tool kind of holding my place in that bottom hole, because with the lace there, I was having trouble seeing where that hole was. Okay, so I'm sure y'all were probably noticing as I was sewing in that signature that I totally failed to sew it actually into the spine piece, the spine strip. So I had to cut it out and start all over. And I remembered to put it into that spine piece this time. Yes, I'm having one of those days. So I redid all that off camera. And now I'm going to get my second signature and poke my holes and sew it into my spine piece. I'm going to do that off camera real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Somehow I got that done. I don't know why I'm on the struggle bus today, getting things accomplished, but I got it done. I got both signatures sewn into this binding strip here, and it's ready to glue into the journal cover. So I'm going to grab my Fabri-Tac glue. Okay, I lost my glue bottle for a second. But I have it back now, and I'm going to run glue all along the spine strip. I'm going to try and avoid going right over the holes so that I don't have glue seeping in through them onto the pages. But other than that, I'm going to run it all across here and glue it into the cover. I'm going to be real generous with it, and I am going to go across the strings. All right, so that's all glued in there pretty well. I'm really happy with the way this journal is turning out. I have to go through now and add some pockets and some other embellishments and some journal cards and tags. But I am going to do all that off camera, and after I get that all done, I'm going to do a flip through video of both of these two wraparound journals that I have completed recently. Thank you so much for watching my channel. If you like what you see on my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, and give me a thumbs up if you like what you're watching. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and God bless.